Hi, I'm Sarah Taylor. I'm an awakening trail guide and an intuitive energy healer. And today I want to talk about something that I haven't been entirely forthcoming about in a lot of my videos, but I plan to today. And this is part of a series called Confessions of a Modern Mystic. So, many of you know that I am a teacher in the awakening traditions. My background is Buddhism, and when I say awakening, I'm talking about waking up from the sense of the separate self, waking up to your true nature, what you are behind, before, prior to your name, your body, your personality, the details of your life, basically prior to form, your spirit. Now, often a lot of non-dual awakening teachers don't talk about working with spirit guides and energy. More and more are talking about healing and embodiment and relationships and how to live a healthy human life while awake or as you are awakening. And that's a wonderful thing to see, because I feel the feminine force, which is genderless, let me just underline that, the feminine force is much needed in spiritual teachings and is becoming more prominent. The feminine force is relational, receptive, it's attunement. It can include energy and intuition, being embodied, paying attention to this realm of existence. It matters. It's creative, the feminine force. The feminine force is about rhythms and feelings and inclusivity, including our humanity and including these other realms if it is part of your path. So I'm making this video because I see so many people who get caught up in the teachings of non-duality. Nobody's here, nothing exists, any phenomena is not real, ignore it, it's all distraction and it's all unreal. That can be a helpful teaching at a certain point, but let me tell you my story. So, Buddhist practice, I'm doing shamatha, I'm doing vipassana, I'm going into the jhanas, I'm experiencing these states of being that are beyond the self, but I am not having the realization just yet at this point of what I am. But what I'm not began making itself really clear. I'm none of the things I think I am or have known myself by. And there was a falling away, an awakening, and it was just the beginning. It was an awakening at the level of mind. I'm not going to go into the various awakenings at mind, heart, and gut that took place on my path. That's a different video. I will link it here. You can go listen to it or watch it, come back and finish. But this was an initial waking up from the mind. Whoa, things are not as they appear to be. Things are not what I thought they were. Now, at this point, I was not into psychic phenomena, energy, or talking to spirit guides. But it just started happening. I underwent a Kundalini awakening. And soon after that, there was a downpour of energy flowing in through the top of my head. That often made electronics stop working. But along with that appeared some guides. They felt benevolent. I could feel their presence. They seemed to be holding me, sort of holding me steady, since I had just been blown open. And I began talking to some friends and my Buddhist teacher, who said, oh yeah, sure, you might have some guides that you're aware of now. Don't get distracted by it. Don't start clinging to beings and guides and energy, but welcome it in. Be curious, stay grounded, which I'm grateful for. So it wasn't dismissed. I wasn't pushing away at it. I was curious. And what I found is that they had a distinct frequency to them, these various guides. And they began helping me as a co-creation make decisions in my life and know where to move. Because something had opened up. A lot had fallen away. And so I sort of felt like a leaf in the wind, and this guidance was helping me. So how was I getting this guidance? Well, clairvoyant capacities opened up. That's the ability to see. So I would see messages or see visions, words that guided me. I would hear words, messages, sounds that guided me. I would feel, so clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience. I would feel and sense a knowing about what was going on emotionally in a room if I walked into it. Many of you are already empaths, and it was like my empathic abilities got ramped up to 150. And then there's claircognizance, which is just kind of a knowing. And so there was this seamless kind of working with these guides that developed over the years, and I appreciated it. There was also huge energy that began pouring in through the top of my head and out my hands. I was a massage therapist, and then I became an energy healer, but it was real, this energy. And I had to learn how to work with it, how to stay grounded, how to shake off or dump excess energy that I was holding, how to protect my energy field. I really got into metaphysical fitness, having boundaries around myself energetically so that I wasn't so porously soaking up other people's stuff. Grounding myself, going outside, moving my body, putting my feet on the floor, centering myself within myself. At this point, I hadn't opened up into the centerlessness of being. So that was later. So I could feel that there was like an energetic center here, a center to my beingness that I would connect with. And it all felt very, very energetic. So it wasn't necessarily difficult to connect with that energetic center. It became a little harder later on when there was a centerless, locationless reality that opened up. And yet, even then I found you still can sense into this energy that is here, that you are relatively speaking. So I began working with these guides. I began journaling and sort of automatic writing and receiving guidance that way. I would meditate a lot, and I would ask, what do I need to know? And I would be delivered something. Some of it would be junk, garbage, maybe mind stuff, but I began to sense how it feels. I began to get attuned to what is true for me as a relative level human being moving through the world. It was a language that I was starting to learn. And it was wonderful. It opened up so much. And I will say I even gravitated away from Buddhism at this point because it wasn't answering my questions about psychic phenomena and about energy. But, I began to talk to dead people. And I do find it is like that movie Ghost Town with Ricky Gervais, where if spirits who are in limbo or haven't moved on, or perhaps have moved on but might have messages for their loved ones, word gets out that you're an antenna, that you're a receptor for that. And there were times when I would just be like eating dinner and I'd feel like eyes on me in my living room. And I would become aware of a lot of different lives that had been lived. Now, I'm not going to go into like some metaphysical teaching. Well, what is a spirit? If ultimately we're emptiness and we're all the same thing, spirit or true nature is all one thing, then who are these ghosts or these spirits? Like, what is a soul? We can talk about that or unpack that at another time, but it just feels like the thumbprint of who these beings were in this lifetime. Something gets left over. So I had to learn how to be boundaried and care for my energy and get to know my own energy as opposed to somebody else's, living or dead. And it was kind of a roller coaster for a while. So I love working with people who this stuff is opening up for them. Now, I was a very intuitive, energetically sensitive kid till about the age of 6, when masking, I'm neurodivergent, ADHD, autistic, and ADHD, I began covering up my capacity to basically read my family's minds, my mom, and to read energy and to know what was going on and to talk with light beings that would be around me. I remember being in kindergarten and just looking around at all these beings of light. I began shutting down to it. So this non-dual, the beginning of this non-dual awakening was an opening into psychic phenomena again. So if you've been on this path of non-duality and all of a sudden things have become quite full, reality has become quite full in this way, you're not doing something wrong. You're opening up into the multidimensional nature of reality. So maybe not entirely the emptiness of reality, but the multidimensional nature of reality. So as time went on, I was deepening my practice of seeing through the self to really get at what am I? Because that's what's important. Who and what are you? Underneath, prior to your name, your personality, your form, what are you? The I am, right? And beyond that, really. So that's what I cared about. I didn't get caught up in the bells and whistles of psychic phenomena and energy work. I started doing energy work more fully with people. I started working as a psychic and an intuitive and blending that with my healing work. I mean, it was wild to me that opened up, but I was just following what was true. But the most important thing was fully awakening to the non-dual nature of reality, to my inherent beingness, oneness, unity. And so I then had another awakening. And this one was at the level of the heart. I consider a full non-dual awakening, especially one that is abiding and that feels inclusive, to be of the heart. That is a movement of the heart. Mind is, oh my goodness, I'm awareness. I am spacious beingness. We drop into the heart. Wow, I am really emptiness. I am that which is beyond everything, and because of that, I am everything. And so boundaries dissolve. The distinctions between myself and others fell away. Oneness, just one thing happening, and all the guides and beings went away. All that sensing of energy went away, and it was fine. It wasn't a problem, because something opened up where I've never been separate from anything that felt like outside of me or other than me, be it energy or guides or another human being or a plant, a flower, an animal. Oneness. This was an abiding non-dual awakening. And there was one guide or being that remained throughout it all. And that is my root guru, who I've talked about in some other videos. In that video where I talk about my awakenings. They never left. their presence, their wisdom stream, always there, always accessible. And I was doing guru yoga with them as they would enter me and suffuse with me, and I would sit as them, leading up to the non-dual awakening. And there then became a spontaneous arising of this root guru of mine, just spontaneously moving through the world. All of a sudden, there they were arising within me as me. So that went on for a while, but all those other guides, they were nowhere to be found. And then in time, new guides came on board. I could feel them. There was a fleshing out of this non-dual awakening that became more and more inclusive, including not only my human emotions, my trauma, my conditioning, all the parts of me that have been abandoned. There was this welcoming in because I had realized what I am, vast, infinite. There was room for everything to come home to what I am. So not just that, but beings, different dimensions, different energies, beautiful, benevolent, healing energies started flowing in and flowing through me. It was different now. It was as if I got an upgrade. But I did it by letting go. I wasn't attached in the beginning to seeking out guides. And I was willing to be without them when they just vanished. So if you've been working with guides, angels, beings, and they start to fall away, okay. If you're working with guides, angels, beings, and you think you shouldn't because it'll keep you from waking up, I don't think that's true. It wasn't true for me, and it's not true for tons of people I work with. I feel that we are meant to embrace all of it, all these dimensions of reality. Some people will be more attuned. Some people are more mystically wired. A mystic is somebody who has direct experience of the divine and or the multidimensional nature of reality, which is not separate from the divine. So some people are more mystically wired than others. You're not missing anything if you're not experiencing any of these things. But I do feel that we are all intuitive and that we all have angels, guides, ancestors, light beings. I don't care what you call them. You don't believe in angels? I didn't either. I don't even know, man. These are beings of light that are guiding us, that are helping us. So it's entirely possible to open up to energy, to want to be embodied here, feet on the ground, and also be open to these various dimensions of reality, to the love that wants to take whatever form and shape it's going to take to teach you something, to guide you, to hold you. Ultimately, we are not separate from guides and beings. With the non-dual unity awakening, that is what I see. It. I wasn't missing guides because they were no longer separate from me. So they didn't show up as distinct beings. But once I had more fully embodied this radical realization that occurred, the embodiment process included welcoming in these guides again. So these days, this mystic doesn't really feel a separation with all these beings. They're here all the time, these various dimensions of reality. And one can pull and tune in and become attuned to these various wisdom streams, energies, dimensions. And if your prayer or your intention is to be a benevolent force in the world, to be awake, to be compassionate, and to live that awakeness, that compassion, and that wisdom, then why not open up to this? Why not? There's more to life than there appears to be. And that doesn't just mean emptiness, spaciousness, some divine realm that is devoid of distinctions. It can mean that. But it can also mean this. This is the feminine force that I think is wanting to move through spiritual teachings and through the planet. This feminine energy is receptive, it's relational, it's responsive, it's attuned. It honors rhythms, nature. It's about this lived experience. So if guides and beings and energy help you have a fuller experience of being whatever you are this lifetime, great. We need intuitive people. I don't know if you've noticed, but this world is really messed up right now. Human beings have sort of lost our way. We're disconnected from the earth, we're disconnected from each other, we're trying to find connection in all sorts of ways. And at the same time, people are waking up. People are realizing unity, oneness. What an incredible time. So I think we're going to need to use all these mystical tendencies, these mystical gifts. So thank you for being here with me today. Confessions of a Modern Mystic. What are your confessions about being a mystic and opening to the multidimensional nature of reality? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. So if this was helpful to you, please like and share it with somebody who maybe can benefit from it. And till next time.